is about potable water and its treatment. Okay, so it is the most important topic in water and its treatment. Potable water and its specifications. How can we treat this potable water? Potable water is nothing but water which fits for drinking purpose. So for drinking, what should be the quality of water? That total ingredient, the total characterization is present in this potable water. So in order to take the water as a drinking water, what should be the important characteristics we have to we have to consider. So all those are taken as the specifications of potable water. These specifications are given by World Health Organization and Indian Standards of Drinking Water. According to these two, World Health Organization and Indian Standards of Drinking Water, we have these many specifications. Water should be clear and odorless, pleasant to taste. So, while taking, if any color is there that indicates any kind of impurities are present in the water, that will not fit for drinking. That should be colorless, that should be odorless and pleasant to taste. Some minerals should be present in the minute quantity in order to impart the taste to water. Optimum hardness should be in the range of less than 125 ppm. So if hardness is less than 125 ppm, then only it fits for drinking. pH should be almost neutral or slightly basic. 7 to 8.5 pH is required for drinking water. Recommended concentration of dissolved solids, total dissolved solids up to 500 ppm. If it exceeds 500 ppm dissolved solids, any kind of dissolved solids, that water is not fit for drinking purpose. Turbidity should not exceed 25 ppm. Turbidity is nothing but any solid impurities present in the water. So that should be less than 25 ppm. Water must be free from heavy metals like lead, arsenic, chromium, and manganese. If these metals, when present, that cause hazardous effects to the water, and pathogenic organisms and microorganisms should be should not be present in the water. So because water is the medium to transmit the diseases, so many pathogens like bacteria, virus, fungi, algae, protozoans can easily transported from the water. That's the reason why. So it is the important specification of drinking water, that is it should be free from all kind of disease causing microorganisms. And dissolved gases should be only oxygen is preferable, because dissolved oxygen present in the water will impart the quality. But gases like H2S, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, when present in the water, that causes adverse effects. It is not preferable to drink. So these are the important specifications in order to take water as a drinking water. Now let us discuss about what are the steps involved in the treatment or purification of potable water. Water can be treated, especially we are considering the municipal water treatment process. It is subjected to screening method. Screening is nothing but water is allowed to pass through the large filters. These filters are mainly used to trap all the solid impurities present. Simply we can say it is the filtration process, where all the wood particles, any kind of leaves, or any solid materials which are floating, which are suspended, all the large size gravels, whatever present, all get trapped by the screening method. Aeration is mainly used to exchange the gases. Whatever hazardous gases present in the water can be replaced by dissolved oxygen. The process is called aeration. So in this aeration, we can improve the quality of water by improving oxygen content and removing the undesirable gases from the water. And the next is about coagulation. Any solid or semi-solid impurities present in the water, by gravitational force, slowly they get deposited at the bottom. That is a slow process. In order to improve that precipitation, we have to add some kind of coagulating agents which are used to increase the rate of precipitation. Potassium aluminium sulfate, well H2O, which is called alum, and sodium aluminate, otherwise aluminium sulfate, can be added in order to increase the rate of aggregation of all the solid particles present in the water and the precipitation at the bottom. The simple reaction for this aluminium sulfate is the flocculation or coagulating agent. When added to this calcium bicarbonate, there is a formation of calcium sulfate and aluminium hydroxide. These get easily precipitated at the bottom. at low temperature conditions. In the same way, calcium bicarbonate can be treated with ferrichloride. Ferrichloride is also coagulating agent which used to generate this water insoluble substances at the bottom. In this way, flocculation or coagulation process is possible where solid impurities get deposited at the bottom. And next is about filtration. Whatever solid impurities generated by coagulation method get filtered by this process, and this colloidal and suspended sized impurities get removed by the usually employed coagulating agents. So all those can be removed by the simple filtration called sand bed filtration. Here we have the method of filtration. So three different layers of sand will be there: fine sand, quartz sand, and gravel sand layer. Raw water is allowed to pass through the sand. Sand is a better absorbing medium where all the solid impurities get trapped by the sand and the purified water or filtered water is coming out. This is a simple instrumentation method for the removal of solid impurities by sand bed filtration. Even we can apply the external pressure in order to increase the rate of this filtration process so that this water can be filtered very easily. And the next step is about disinfection. Disinfection is nothing but removal of pathogenic or disease causing microorganisms from the water is called a disinfection process. In order to remove all the disease causing organisms like bacteria, other microorganisms, other pathogenic organisms from the water, here water is treated with different kind of chemical methods. First is about disinfection of potable water by simple boiling process. When boiling is applied to the water, so at high temperature, as already we know, microorganisms cannot withstand to high temperature. By rising temperature to 100 degrees, all kind of whatever, irrespective of their nature and family and species, all kind of pathogenic organisms get killed, and the sterilization of water efficiently carried by simple boiling process. This boiling should be carried for the period of 20 minutes. If you are exceeding this 20 minutes, even dissolved oxygen present in the water get removed and the water becomes unfit for drinking. That's the reason why we have to heat the water around 100 degrees for the period of 20 minutes for effective disinfection of potable water. So in this way we can remove all kind of pathogens, but only the problem is, so by this disinfection process, what happens, we have to use large amount of heat or fuel energy. So for bulk distribution of water, this boiling method is not preferable. For domestic purpose in our home, we can perform this activity to sterilize the water. And next is about ozone treatment. When water subjected to ozone or O3, ozone is a sterilizing agent because ozone is highly unstable molecule. It readily dissociated into oxygen and nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen is responsible to kill all pathogenic microorganisms. This is the instrumentation of ozone treatment. Ozone and UV light is also allowed to pass, and ozone injector is allowed into this, and all these are entered into the water which to be sterilized. This is about the simple instrumentation of ozone treatment process. Now, let us see what are the disadvantages by ozone treatment. Ozone is not stable. We can't store in the containers, and it is not possible to generate or synthesize ozone easily, somewhat expensive. That's why it is not applicable in wide range, but it is most effective because not only it used to kill the pathogens, but also improve the quality of water by adding this dissolved oxygen to the water. That's why this sterilization is most important, somewhat expensive. That's why we have limited applications. Wherever closed containers, closed cinema halls, or any public areas are present, in that region, this ozone treatment is applied. And next is about chlorination. A direct chlorine gas can be passed into the water. So when we are passing chlorine into the water, what happens? That is converted into HCl and HOCl. HOCl is called hypochlorous acid, which is the responsible chemical to kill the pathogens, and this can be easily dissociated into HCl and nascent oxygen. Again, this nascent oxygen able to kill pathogenic microorganisms. So Here, this chlorine gas is able to kill pathogens due to the presence of hypochlorous acid. Hypochlorous acid generated from the chlorine when added to water is efficient to kill the pathogens, but only the drawback is water is becoming acidic. While chlorination water is becoming acidic, that's why it may not fit for drinking purpose. That's why direct chlorination is not preferable. Hence, we can go for another alternative by the addition of chloramines. Chloramines are nothing but amine. Amine when treated with chlorine, amine on the treatment with chlorine, there is a formation of chloramine by the release of HCl. These chloramines, when added to water, again there is a liberation of hypochlorous acid so that we can remove pathogenic microorganisms from water. So here hypochlorous acid liberated in this addition of chloramine to the water. So this is also efficient method for the removal of pathogenic organisms. And the next is about bleaching powder. It is the ancient and efficient method for the removal of pathogens from the water. That is addition of bleaching powder. For more than a century, safety drinking water supply is greatly improved by the addition of bleaching powder. The chemical formula of bleaching powder is calcium hypochlorite, CaClO2. Calcium hypochlorite is the chemical formula of bleaching powder. This is mainly used to kill the pathogenic organisms. When this calcium hypochlorite added to water, it used to liberate calcium hydroxide and chlorine. Again, this chlorine liberated can use to generate this hypochlorous acid, which is responsible to kill pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, it is the more efficient method compared to remaining all, because in this treatment what happens, hypochlorous acid is generated, and here this acid generated can be neutralized by the addition of by the liberation of base in this. That's the reason why it is the efficient method compared to direct to chlorination process. We can neutralize the water somewhat because base released can neutralize whatever acid present in the water, and finally water becomes neutral. So in this way, here this additional bleaching powder is a efficient method. All these comes under hypochlorination process only, because in direct chlorination, otherwise addition of chloramines, otherwise bleaching powder, all these are used to generate hypochlorous acid, which is responsible to kill the pathogens. Hence, all these methods are called hypochlorination methods. Now, we are going to discuss about most important segment in this chlorination process, which is called the breakpoint chlorination. Breakpoint chlorination is nothing but amount of chlorine which is required to kill the pathogenic microorganisms, to remove the organic matter, to remove the, so here amount of the chlorine not only used to kill the pathogenic organisms, but also used to remove the organic matter present in the water. So the collective amount, the total amount of chlorine which used to kill the pathogens and remove the organic matter, the total amount is called breakpoint chlorination. Okay. So this breakpoint chlorination is used to give the significance of this method compared to remaining all. It is not only used for the removal of pathogens, but also remove all kind of other impurities present in the water. Then water becomes more efficient for drinking process, which can be explained by this graphical representation. Here, this graph is plotted in between chlorine added versus residual chlorine. Here in this graph, we have four segments. One is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. Where stage 1 represents, so stage 1 is nothing but 8 grams of chlorine is there. Reducing impurities when present, those get oxidized by this chlorine. Whatever reducing impurities are there in the water, those get oxidized by this chlorine, added chlorine in this segment A. Then segment 2, which is nothing but B grams of chlorine added to chloramine and other chlorocompounds. So here, this second segment is mainly used to generate whatever ammonia and related related impurities present in the water, all get converted into chloramines. The segment C is mainly responsible So this amount of chlorine used to kill the pathogenic microorganisms present in the water. And after the stage C, whatever chlorine is coming out, that entered into stage 4, that is called a residual chlorine. Nothing but excessive chlorine remains after the purification. So till this stage 3, so this point where we are entering stage 3 into stage 4, that point is called break point chlorination. Break point chlorination is nothing but amount of chlorine used to oxidize the reducible impurities and convert all kind of amines into chloramines, and in order to remove all the pathogenic microorganisms present in the water. And the final step is nothing but undesirable, nothing but excessive chlorine present in the water, which is called a residual chlorine. So that is coming out, which this distinction or partition is called a breakpoint chlorination. Now let us see what are the advantages of breakpoint chlorination. Breakpoint chlorination. So it used to remove all the bad taste present in the water, color, if any coloring matter is there, those can be removed, and oxidizes all kind of impurities, organic impurities present in the water. Ammonia and its related compounds also removed by this breakpoint chlorination. 100% removal of pathogenic organisms are possible. That's why it is more efficient compared to remaining all. And any kind of unwanted plant materials in the water, that kind of materials can be prevented by this breakpoint chlorination. Destroy or decay of weeds in the water is possible. And this method is highly cheap and economical, which is efficient even, and it can be applied at high and low concentration both. So for all kind of activities, we can apply this breakpoint chlorination. So this is about breakpoint chlorination and what a total potable water treatment. In this potable water treatment, water which fit for drinking is called potable water. First, we discussed about various conditions required for drinking water, and next step by step purification of water were discussed, and the special concerned with sterilization, which is also called as disinfection. We have several methods of disinfection, and we also discussed about breakpoint chlorination and its advantages. All these comes under this potable water and its